All right. We are going to move to something that is very serious that has to do with the beef between Real Madrid and UEFA. All right. Apparently, this started since 2021. Now, Real Madrid with A22 Sports Management are considering to sue UEFA for 4.5 billion euros for damages due to UEFA's role in preventing the ESL from coming into existence. Now, this is massive. I can tell for Real Madrid and Pérez, it's not just about the money. All right. It is about what Pérez actually represent. All right. So the thing is, Pérez wants to wrestle with a very foundation and fundamental power structure of European football. I mean, this guy is the godfather of football. Believe it or not. All right. That is number one. So therefore, he wants to do this to show that when it comes to Real Madrid prides itself in its moral fortitude, all right, building enviable reputation, and of course, exemplary leadership for everyone to see. So for Pérez, it is more than this, all right? It is about character, all right? It is about what Real Madrid stands for. So this is massive. It is really big, okay? And if you're out there, again, like I always do, I bring you up to speed. If you are not familiar with what the ESL or the European Super League is all about, I'm going to summarize things here real quick, okay? This was an idea Pérez floated, all right, to all these big teams in some of these countries, okay? In Spain, it was Real Madrid, of course, Barcelona, and Atletico Madrid. In Italy, it was Juventus, AC Milan, and Inter Milan. In England, it was Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, and Liverpool. Now, the idea was to give fans a higher level of entertainment because of the qualities of these teams, right? Where they will have the opportunity to play one another more regularly. Okay. So that was basically the idea of the ESL. There are other, of course, sub ideas into the whole picture, but I just want to focus on that to give you a background understanding of what the ESL was all about. Then the problem with UEFA here is, they prevented the ESL from coming into existence. Okay. And Real Madrid has been fighting this issue with UEFA. Now, it was ruled in Real Madrid's favor that the ESL, okay, was not supposed to have been prevented. And that is because UEFA does not have the right, okay, to paraphrase. What happened is, because of the actions of UEFA, these big teams, they pulled out, right? Why did they pull out? They pulled out because UEFA and FIFA threatened to sanction the clubs as well as their players. For FIFA, they were like, well, if you guys go ahead and participate, those players that will participate in the ESL will not participate in UEFA competitions as well as the World Cup. All right. That was a big, big threat by UEFA and FIFA. And at the time, they did not have the power to do that. And at the time, they lacked the authority to stop the ESL from coming into existence. And here is the reason, and I'm going to paraphrase this, okay? So basically, UEFA act like they are the ones that are giving the approval to whoever is the competitor. Let that sink in. I know it doesn't make sense to me, but I don't know if that makes sense to you, okay? If I'm in a business and I'm making a lot of profit, all right? For the sake of argument, let me say I'm making 2 billion profit a year. Now, why would I want to approve a competitor that will come into the business and cut my profit down by $1 billion? All right. So you see where this thing is coming from? And apart from that, right, if you have all those big teams that I mentioned that are pulling out from the UEFA Champions League to form another league that, that was supposed to be the ESL, then where UEFA is going to make that money from? So that was the threat that it felt that the competition was going to bring for UEFA. And they're like, no, we are not going to sit by and watch this happen. But as they may have it, they were dealing with one guy who is the godfather of football. Like I said, Florentino Pérez. He doesn't give up. All right. So now Perez and A22 Sport Management are saying, well, we are going to see you guys for damages, okay? Because we have a wonderful idea that was in the works and you guys prevented it and you had no power, no authority at the time to prevent that, right? Because they don't have the monopoly. UEFA is not the only institution that has the right to organize competition across Europe. And that decision was reached by the European Court itself. So this is massive. It is highly likely they are going to win this lawsuit if that happens, if they take this matter to court. So UEFA stands a lot to lose in this situation. All right. Like I said, it would be smarter if they settle out of court, because if they go to court, Real Madrid is highly likely going to win this one, which means they'll be paying $4.5 billion. And as rich as you are, if you're UEFA, but $4.5 billion is really going to pour holes in your pockets, in your purses, your bags, your wallet, and wherever your bank accounts, whatever that is. Okay. So this is massive. And like I mentioned earlier, it's not just about the money. Okay. It is about the shift of power, the balance of power, right? Because this is going to open so many doors. One of which is not just the ESL. All right. Other people might just want to come together and decide to set up other competitions, and they will have the right to do so because it is an open market. All right. That is number one. Even the ESL. All right. They might want to come back together and say, well, you know what? How about we just do this and see what happens? All right. Then apart from that too, if you ever settle, then it means these clubs that were part of the ESL, they could also come and say, well, up until the point in time where we were part of the ESL, these were our expenditures. This is what it cost us up until that point in time. So we're suing for damages. Or even say, well, if you had not threatened us with the sanctions and things like that, we would not have left the ESL. We would have been part of it. We would have pursued this idea, and then we would have been enjoying the economic benefits of the ESL right now. But because of your threats of sanctions and things of that nature, we pulled out, and then the ESL collapsed. So UEFA is indeed in some deep, you know what, okay? The water is hard for them. And I think the best they could do is to reach out to Real Madrid and A22 Sports Management and try to work things together. Now, Barcelona, I don't know the extent to which they are still part of the ESL. Perhaps they have 5 fingers in the ESL, but I think that is a good thing. All right. And if they were smart enough, they would have, just stuck with Real Madrid and see how this is going to play out. But I think at some point in time, they were considering joining UEFA and just boycotting Real Madrid, because I guarantee you, Real Madrid is going to get some money out of this. All right. So if you're Barcelona, I think you could get some. And considering your economic situation, which we all know, you guys are broke. You guys don't have money. So, I mean, it is an opportunity, even at this point in time, to support Real Madrid. All right. So if that happens, then you guys might just say, oh, well, we were part of the ESL also up until this point in time. Let us have a portion of the cake. Until then, we're going to monitor the situation, see how it evolves, obviously. And then, but I do believe this is going to turn out really good for Real Madrid and A22 Sports Management. So until we get back on this matter, stay blessed and peace out.